on, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. Before I start anything, I'd like to congratulate Lanny Dixon again for being the winner of our 1,500 subscriber giveaway. Greatly appreciate your support. If you have not received your prize yet, it should be there within the next couple days, so thank you again. Now, what we're doing today is, well, for those of you that have been with me for a while know that I have been gone for the last few weeks, been working a lot of overtime and stuff. And, well, I've done a lot of thinking, a lot of what I wanted to do for some upcoming projects. So right now, I got my truck loaded up. We are headed to the junkyard. Now that truck you guys have seen a couple times on the channel. I haven't done really a whole lot with it. I may have mentioned that it used to be a long bed. Used to have a V6 in it. We've lowered it. We've made it a short bed. It does have a big block in it, but the big block is not staying in that truck. I'm actually taking it out for something else. But like I said, we are headed to the junkyard. We're picking up a big piece today, hopefully, to begin another project that I've been wanting to do for a while with that truck. I'm really excited. Maybe you can guess what it is, but got my wife Ashley with me. She's going to be doing some filming. She's in the truck right now. Got to drop my son off there. But yeah, so I'm going to finish to get this thing all loaded up. I'll see you guys here in a second at the junkyard. All right, so I'm at the junkyard over there. My wife Ashley over there. She's hanging out. She's going to be doing some videoing. Found our victim here. It is a 2003, see if I can get in there, Chevy Avalanche. Now, being 2003, I'm pretty sure this is a Gen 3. It's not the most desirable for turbo builds and stuff like that. The rotating assembly or the internals are probably some of the weakest, but I'm not really concerned with that right now. Although I am going to be putting a little bit of boost to this thing. I'm not going to be pushing outrageous numbers like everybody else does, but I will 500-600 horse out of it. We'll do some cheap eBay turbos. I just want to have fun with this. This engine should handle it. And you know what? If I can get out of here, pull this engine myself, and it's pretty much everything you see here minus the AC compressor and the power steering pump. I can get this everything else for 400 bucks, and for that price, why not? Let's pull the engine. Let's have some fun with it. I'm gonna learn as I go because I've never worked on a LS, or this is a Vortec 5.3. So I haven't worked on this engine before, this style engine, so I want to learn before I do anything radical. But anyways, enough talking about it. I'm gonna go ahead and start unbolting and get this thing out of here. All right, we are back in the shop. You saw there, we got the engine out of the truck. We got it sitting up on our stand. And as you can tell, or might tell, down there I got a little pan. I've already gone ahead and taken the exhaust manifolds off. I've removed the starter as well, as well as the old mounts and some of the excess wiring that was hanging out on the block, just so I can get to it and kind of scrape and clean. I gotta blow the ports out and everything, try to get some of that stuff off the block, just to make all the bolts a little more accessible, make this thing easier to tear apart. But basically what I'm going to do right now is I'm gonna get myself set up. I'm gonna get the valve covers back off this thing. I'll want to get all the front accessories off, get the alternator, power steering pump, all the bracketry, get that off. I want to remove the heads just so I can see what the cylinder walls look like. Turn this engine over, see if we can't get that oil pan off. Maybe pull one of the rod caps just to see what the rod bearings look like. Even though chances are I may want to go ahead and just kind of replace what's in there, but It turns over really nice by hand. I don't feel any binding up or of any sort. So that is really cool. I did take all the spark plugs out while we were there too. I checked all the spark plugs. Each one of them looked like they had been firing and firing pretty clean. There was no oil buildup on the plugs. So that's awesome. If you look right in here, you'll see the oil pump is, or oil pump, the water pump housing is not as dirty as the rest of the block. So this thing had recently had a water pump replaced, and the coolant that came out of it was really, really clean. I know some of these, it was Dex Cool. I know some of them come out there kind of grudgy or sludgy, kind of a burn smell, but the coolant that came out of that pump and the block and the radiator in that truck were very, very clean. So I'm really excited about that. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get my camera set up. Go ahead and get the valve covers, the front accessories off, get the heads off, and see what the inside of those cylinder walls look like. All right, got the accessories off. So you can see, went ahead and scraped a little bit more, kind of get some more of that dirt on there. That pan is starting to fill up. This thing's quite a mess. But accessories are off, heads are off. You can see how each cylinder was burning. A little bit of carbon buildup, not too bad though, but for the most part, each cylinder looked like it was burning fairly even. This cylinder was the one that where the valves were left open a little bit. This one as well. Come over here to the block. You'll see there's a little bit of discoloration from where the water was sitting. Got some there, and I got some right there. I went ahead and hit it with the hone real fast just to see what it would do. And it's already cleaned up much better, or it feels way nicer than it did when I first pulled the head off. And of course, I am going to pull this thing all the way down. Pistons are coming out. We're going to hone all the cylinders, get them cleaned up as the best we can. We're going to go ahead and put some new rings in it. Might as well. So, but other than that, you can see these other cylinder walls cleaned up real nice. This one's got a little bit of discoloration. This one as well. But for the most part, it's really just discoloration. You can't really feel it too much. And I'm sure once we finish honing and cleaning it all up, you won't be able to feel it at all. Plus, I don't know if I told you guys the cost of this engine. All said and done, I paid less than 450 bucks. And that's for the full, that's for everything. For what you see here, the heads, we've got the intake manifold, the fuel rails, all the sensors, manifolds, starter, alternator, power steering pump. Basically a complete engine. If I had another vehicle that this came out of, I could drop it in, 450 bucks. So I'm not really concerned with anything other than just having fun with this thing. So I will be keeping a tally on what everything costs as of right now. 450 bucks for the engine. My wife said she's going to get me a whiteboard, so I will be putting a whiteboard up on the wall here pretty quick, and we'll go ahead and keep a running tally of this thing. Like, this is nothing special. I'm going to do cheap as possible. Have fun with it. Try to reuse everything I can. Come up with a couple different ideas on how to keep, without having to change anything and not having to come out a whole lot of money. Now, of course, the fuel injection system is probably going to be the most expensive, and we are going to upgrade the springs and the heads, as well as the trunnions and the rockers, because those have a tendency to fail at high RPMs, and I really don't want those to fail while we're having fun. So I'm going to spend a little bit of money there, but other than that, everything else we're going to try to keep as cheap as possible. But anyways, enough blabbing on. We got the heads off. Cylinder walls look pretty good. They should clean up with a hone. Now I'm going to go ahead and flip this thing over. We're going to get the oil pump off, kind of see what the crank looks like, see what the inside of the, just see what the inside of the bottom end looks like. So let's get that pan off. All right, so we got the oil pan off, got the windage tray out of the way. I went ahead and pulled the number 6 piston, and I pulled the center main cap out as well, and that's the one with the thrust bearing. And I am very excited on what I found after pulling all these things apart. Let me show you guys. My first excitement was the fact to find this style connecting rod in this engine. Now those little 6 dots are mine. That's not, nobody else put those there. I just put that there. But for a Gen 3 engine, this is not the rod that you would find in this engine. You would be expecting the smaller, more rounded edge rod in this style block. So when I found these, I had to stop. I had to do some research, reading, and try to figure out what was going on with this. So now this is an 03, came out of an Avalanche, and it is a Gen 3 block. They say that there's a couple reasons you can determine that, and they say one of them is by the location of the cam sensor. The cam sensor's in the timing cover. It's a Gen 4. If it's up on top of the block back where the oil pressure sending unit would be, then it's a Gen 3. But there are some, they call them transition years. So, and that is, I believe, if I remember correctly, it's 03 and 04 are the transition years. Well, they switch between, whatever. You get what I'm saying. Between Gen 3 and Gen 4. And this is being a 03 in that transition year. Some of these engines got the beefier rods in them, which is really cool. Now, obviously, too, that is not something that a whole lot of people know. When I went to the junkyard, all I found, this is the newest one I found, 03. I figured I'd grab that. It's probably got fewer miles on it, whatever. They had 05 and 06. They had a few of those in there, but those engines were already gone, and those trucks had only been there probably for a couple weeks max. This little guy sat in the junkyard for almost 3 months, and it was untouched. So that kind of leads me to believe, too, that's not something that not a whole lot of people would know. It was also confirmed by what I read last night on the internet, and worked out great for us. So I didn't know it. Like I said, this is all a learning experience for me. I've seen a bunch of other YouTubers out there doing LS engines, first time, stuff like that, but it's not really something that I have heard before, that the transition years. So if you're in a junkyard and you find yourself in 03 or an 04, I believe this is an LM4, it's out of an Avalanche, and you can pull the pan on it, check. Most likely it was left there for a reason, because this isn't something anybody knows. So anyways, enough of that. Let's get back to our crankshaft. As you guys can see there, it is actually extremely clean, very smooth. I feel no lines in it or no gouging of any sort. It's very shiny, not a whole lot of burnt residue left over. Here is our main bearing. Now it does have a slight, like a little, I can't feel it, but I can see it. So there must have been a little bit of debris that went through there at one point in time. The thrust side, it's got some wear, but nothing too bad, of course. Still looks really good. Rod bearings are the same way, just a little light scuffing, just basically evidence of being used. But other than that, bearings are in really good shape. It rotates over very nicely, so that is awesome. And to keep with the whole theme of as cheap as possible with this whole project, I'm going to reuse these bearings. I don't see any reason why I shouldn't. I will, however, I am going to pull everything apart though, because I am going to clean up and rehone the cylinders, get those all cleaned up. So I will be putting a new set of rings in it. But as of right now, that seems to be the only thing that I'll be replacing in the bottom of this. Everything else seems really good. And so, yeah, I am going to stop this video right here. So as far as I'm going to go with this, I do have some other projects and other things I need to take care of. Like I said, I've been gone for a long time. I've got things I need to take care of all around here. So this is as far as I'm going with this, but I am very, very excited to get going on this project. I've been wanting to do something with that white truck for a while. The engine in it was never meant to stay in there, but I want to do something like this. I'm just gonna have some, I keep rambling on. I'm really excited to do this project. Cheap as possible, have fun with it. Especially if I find engines like this, we'll be keeping a running tally. I'll put a whiteboard up there. Make sure we keep track of everything we spend on this. So far, I'm only in this block, this engine, $450, and that came with everything: intake, manifolds, fuel, you name it. Everything that was on that engine, the accessory drive, alternator, power steering pump, $450 is what I pay for that. Cool thing is, if I ever blow this thing, blow this up, I go back to the junkyard, buy another one of these with just the block and the heads. It is $350. So I'm just really starting to understand why that all this particular setup is so much fun to just go grab, throw a bunch of power at it, blow it up, and do it again. Pull another one, do it again next weekend. So, but anyways, I am going to end this video right here. I can ramble on. Thank you guys for hanging out. Thank you for watching. Like I said, I'll keep a track of the tally there as we continue to progress with this. But I do have other things I got to do. So, again, thank you guys for hanging out. Thank you for watching. Hit that subscribe button if you've made it this far. Definitely hit those like buttons for me. It helps me grow. And catch you guys on the next one.